What's up, everybody? Jackson here. Got a bit of a different video for you today. Other than my usual random Destiny clips, I was sitting around this winter. Renegades is come and gone. I liked it, but it's not a lot much to do after the dungeon was done. I was like, I'm going to take my typical Destiny break. I usually take it around this time of the year. I hate Dawning. It sucks. So I just never touch that event. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go and do another Skyrim playthrough, and I'd been meaning to do it for a while. I was going to do a Hank playthrough. I'll put a picture up here showing the reasoning why it would be a Hank playthrough. And I got a couple hours in and I was like, you know what? I'm bored. Like, I've played Skyrim enough. It's like, I'm going to play another game. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do an Elden Ring playthrough. Start another Elden Ring playthrough. I was like, man, I am bored. Like, I want to play something new. So I decided to start kind of diving into a little bit of my backlog. And I got through a good amount of games this winter, which I was pretty surprised about. Kind of did a mix of going and doing some games that I knew were pretty short, like I got them done in like a night. Some games that I'd been wanting to do for years. I did a game where I had already done the first half, but I still had to beat the second half of the game, which was still just like 12 more hours. And I had a blast playing a lot of these games that I'd been meaning to play. I did play some other games over winter. I obviously I played Destiny, but honestly, once Dungeon slowed down, I had stopped playing it. We did contests and everything. That was a great time. But I've been getting into a lot of Black Ops 3 modded zombies, as you can see by the clips being shown. This is like a modded, it's like a World at War Durice, and it's pretty fun. All the guns kind of sucked on the map, which was cool. Like even the ray guns was trash, but it was a pretty good map. It looked good. You'll see the clip at the end. I was playing a lot of NBA Playgrounds with one of my boys, a bit of a throwback, but love that game. Also played like half of Dead Rising 3. We were playing the co-op campaign, but of course the game just stopped working halfway through. That was fun. And I played all of Portal 1 again, which I know I was talking about not replaying old games. You'll see why in a sec, why I played Portal 1. But it's also a very short game. Like every time I play Portal 1, I forget how short that game is. I think I might have beat it in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like it is nothing. But yeah, typical just random games when you have time to kill. I had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, it was cool. I decided to make this video because I wanted to kind of let people know about the games I played. I'm sure some of them you have heard of because they're pretty well known. But I'm hoping there's also some in here you haven't heard of that you may try out because honestly, I thought they were all really good. What I'm going to do to kind of show off these games is do like a little soft ranking and buzzword, tier list. Make a little tier list of them. They're only going to be ranked from S tier down to C tier. I would not have kept playing any of these games if I didn't like them. They've just been on my backlog for so long. Like I didn't spend a lot of money on them. So, if I didn't like them at all, I just would have stopped. But honestly, I did like all of these games. What I'm going to do for the soft rankings is in each of the tiers. Obviously, it's just like I said, S through C, but in each of the tiers, there's not like a set spot in the tier. So if there's like 3 games in S tier, however they're arranged, doesn't matter at all. I just think they're all S tier at the top and then just go down from there. I liked them all, but obviously there's some better than others. And I do think there are games in here, whether you're a fan of the genre or not, or like whether you've heard of the games or not, they're definitely worth your time and money. And they're just all overall good time. What I'm going to do for the games is just give a little quick overview, what I liked and didn't like about the game. I'm not going to go full deep into like an analysis or anything crazy like that. I won't sit here and try to bore you, but just my overall opinion on the game and just why I think you should play it. So let's get right into it. First game I'm going to be going over is What Remains of Edith Finch. It's a narrative game. A lot of people would call it like a walking simulator. You're playing as Edith, and she's the last member of her family alive. There's like a known family curse that they have. She's visiting her old family home. There's tons of secrets and locked rooms that you unlock as you progress through the house. The main point of the game is she has like a little journal, and she's filling out her family tree. As you go through the individual rooms in different parts of the house, you begin to find things left by her old family members that died many years beforehand, and then it shows little flashbacks showing like some of their last moments alive, helping Edith get closure on these family members and figuring out how they died. And it also kind of shows you how the family curse works. I thought this game was solid, but as someone who honestly like really enjoys these like walking simulator narrative games where I can just chill and enjoy a good story, I'm not gonna lie, this may have been one of the weaker ones that I've played. I think it's a good game for what it's going for. The story always has to hit for these kind of games just because, there's not a lot of gameplay. It is a narrative game. That's the main focus. But it really does make you interested in Edith's character. Hope she doesn't carry this family legacy. And it does give you some pretty interesting stories with the families and their backgrounds and how they died. And it also does have a pretty good ending to the game as well, I will say. But I've played much more interesting, much more out there of these walking simulator types that just hooked me. For example, some of my favorites are Firewatch, just great setting, great story, just overall probably my favorite of these walking simulator type games. I also love Stanley Parable, great story, branching storylines, different endings, just very like trippy and just weird as well. And I also love Jazz Punk. It's very quirky, strange, but I like how they fully lean into that and like accept just how strange the game is. But they're all way more enjoyable to me than this game. There's bits of like emotion here and there with some of the stories, but I'm not gonna lie, this one may have been one of the weaker games I played. But honestly, this one being one of the weaker ones is not a bad thing because this is still a pretty solid game. And I'm going to give it a B on the tier list ranking. If I could go any deeper, it wouldn't even be a B plus or a B minus. It would just be a straight B. It's an average game. If it was on sale for pretty cheap, I would get it, but nothing to just go and instantly buy whenever you get the chance. Next game I'm going to be talking about is Superliminal. It's a first-person puzzle game, and you're in like a dream therapy program. That's the basis of the story. A lot of the puzzles kind of rely on like optical illusions, a lot of perspective changes. It's pretty cool puzzles. It's not any kind of puzzle game that I've played, and I feel like I've played a few. It goes into a few different types of puzzles based on rooms. There's like cloning where when you click stuff, it makes a duplicate of it, and you gotta like you view a perspective, so you clone it near you or away from you, whatever. There is just straight perspective where it like kind of scales stuff. Like if you take a small object, you put it above you, it'll drop. It'll be bigger. If you view it farther away, it'll be small, and you walk up to it, it'll still be small. Things like that. There's also like a dollhouse level where it does the same things with scale, but it's like dealing with like being in an actual building. Like the dollhouse scale is like you have a little tiny dollhouse in front of you, and you'll do whatever you need to do, change the perspective. I usually just put it above me, and it will drop, and then it'll be full size, and then you have to like walk in, basically is how it is. There's a labyrinth where you kind of have to learn the little puzzle of how to get through. There's also a blackout level, just dealing with light and like just changing your view of it. That level is pretty cool. They do it like kind of like a horror style because it's a blackout. Like I said, it's the puzzles are cool. They're really unique, but I'm not gonna lie, the story seemed pretty interesting at first, but it never really hooked me at the end. But I don't really play these games for story. I'm not gonna lie, as long as there's some like interesting puzzles actually make you think, I have a good time with it, and I did. I had a pretty good time with this game. I was nothing special, but as far as just like a chill, regular puzzle game, I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed it. Going back to this tier list, I'm going to put the game at C. Like I said, I enjoyed it. Honestly, like if this game was cheap, I would totally pick it up if you're just looking for a little puzzle game to kill some time, But I didn't think it was anything crazy. Next game I'm going to be talking about is Alan Wake. This game came out all the way back in 2010, and it follows Alan Wake. He's like a big crime author. He's on like bit of a writer's block, so he goes to Bright Falls, Washington, with his wife. While they're there, they encounter some strange things, and then ultimately his wife disappears, and so he's doing all this stuff trying to get her back. He discovers a few other things about the town. It's overall just a pretty interesting story, I will say, if you're big into like a Twin Peaks style, just mystery, but with some clear, strange, supernatural things going on in the background that aren't explained early on. I've been wanting to play it for a while. I've been pretty interested in it. I know it has some big influences by Twin Peaks, which I love. Just wanted to show you guys also my favorite reference in the game, the diner. You come over here, you see some weird dudes hanging out. You got the jukebox behind them. Now you got the waitress. You got the police officer, super reminiscent of Twin Peaks. You go over here, you don't have the log lady, but you get the lamp lady being all weird and shit. It's pretty on the nose whenever I went over there in game, but I thought it was pretty cool. But I finally did play it this winter. I played just like the regular version that came out in 2010. There's a remaster, but I didn't have it, and you also have to go on Epic Games Store to play it. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play the normal version because I saw some pictures of the remaster. I didn't think it was anything crazy of a remaster. I thought it was pretty good. The gameplay gets to be kind of a bit of a boring loop. In some points, they do have a little too much combat, which honestly for this game is not how it should be. It should be like a bit of a narrative focus, which they do. It is narrative focused, but this is one of those games where if it was like maybe a book or a TV show, it would have been like a huge thing. They do have it in like a TV show style where there's like 6 episodes, and at the end of one there's like a song and everything, and there's like it's almost like they're trying to do it like it's a horror TV show. Definitely worth playing though if you're into any of these kind of horror, supernatural, detective style type games. I also really like the storytelling they do in this game with the manuscript. The manuscript, it's little collectible pages you pick up along the way. They're just part of Alan Wake's manuscript, and they'll tell you about sometimes events that happened before or sometimes actually happen in the future. I know one point in the game I found a manuscript, and it was like about Alan Wake getting attacked by a bulldozer. And I was like, that's strange. I haven't been attacked by a bulldozer yet. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, I got attacked by a bulldozer, and I was like, oh, shit. That's what it was. That's actually really cool. I also really liked the characters in this game. Obviously, 3 main characters, being Alan Wake, Sarah Breaker, the main police officer in Bright Falls, and then also Barry Wheeler, who is Alan Wake's agent. They're the main 3 characters. They're all really enjoyable every time they're in a cutscene or just in-game. But honestly, all the characters, even side characters, they're all super cool. And I also love the little different twists and turns within the story. You think it's going to go one way, but it totally switches up. Story goes a whole different way. Going back to the tier list, I'm going to put this at B. I thought it was a good time. Like I said, story's good, but the gameplay is just kind of average. Definitely a good time, though. If you enjoy any kind of horror games, I would recommend picking this up. Next game I'm going to be talking about is Stray. It's an adventure game, a little bit of platforming and exploration. And you're playing as just like a lost cat. It falls into like a cyberpunk style city populated by robots. You find a little drone companion, and the drone companion is working with you to escape back into the overworld. Along the way, you also get some help and meet some of the robots across the different cities. I had a great time playing this game. I'd been meaning to play it for a while. I'm a cat person in general, and I heard the game was good, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to check this out. And it was a good time. I was really surprised by how good like the world building and the like little story details were in this game. I was expecting kind of just like a straightforward, oh, you're playing as a cat. I thought it was going to be pretty basic, but no, it was. There's a lot of cool like little story details surrounding why the world is this way, and I still kind of want to look into more about it in the future just to kind of see if I missed anything with the story. I also thought the level variety was really good too. There's a lot of different types of levels. There's levels where you're getting chased by stuff, as you can see in the clips that I'm showing. There's also like a little stealth level where there's drones chasing you and you got to like stay out of view and stuff like that. There's a lot of levels where you're just exploring a city and you're like, oh, you have to go talk to this person and you got to go grab this thing to help them. You bring it back and you really get to explore the entire city. And all the cities are designed very well. They look super cool, especially for a game that I thought was just going to be just like platformer where you play as a cat. Like I said, it's a platformer, but the platforming levels are also really cool just because it does incorporate a lot of just random cat stuff. Just like, oh, you're able to walk on this little tightrope fence that like normally in most games, like, would you be able to walk on this? No, not at all. It does a lot of other funny things too, playing as a cat. Like you can scratch like a curtain enough and it'll open. Like you can knock things over and it hits someone and it progresses part of the level. It was really cool. They did a lot of like a little attention to detail stuff with playing as a cat that is just super, super random, not anything like crazy, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. But yeah, like I said, the story really surprised me. It really, really pulled me in and I was like super interested in it. And yeah, overall, I really had a great time with this game. If you like any kind of just adventure platformer type game, I would totally check this out. It's not very short. Like I beat it in maybe like 4 to 5 hours. It's a chill time. It's nothing super stressful, but it's a great game. I really liked it. Going back to the tier list, I'm going to put it at A. Like I said, not a very long game, but like for what it's going for, there's a lot that really surprised me. And I thought it was fun. If this game was ever cheap, I would totally check it out if you enjoy games in this type of genre. Next game I'm going to be talking about is Control. It was made by Remedy, same company that made Alan Wake. And you play as Jessie. She shows up at the FBC building, Federal Bureau of Control. She's looking for her brother Dylan. And he's disappeared a while ago and was taken by them after some weird paranormal event happened. And yeah, I mean, that's where the story begins. I don't really want to spoil too much because I think the story's pretty interesting, but there's a lot I can spoil just by kind of going in deep with it now. I thought this game was really fun. Like I said, there's not too much I want to spoil about the story, but there is a lot of mystery surrounding it of like what's really going on there, different things you find. You learn a lot about the story by picking up collectibles along the way. There's tons of collectibles to pick up along the way, but they're all super interesting and just describe more lore about different aspects of the game. The one thing about the story I was a little underwhelmed with was the ending. I thought it was just a little anticlimactic. I think it's eventually it's going to be seen as less anticlimactic, more of just like mysterious, because Control 2 is coming out later this year. I'm very excited for that. I'll play that right when it comes out. But as of now, the ending was just seemed like there was still like a lot of plot holes left. I also really liked both of the DLCs. The first one is Foundation. Brings a lot into the backstory of the FBC, and it was really interesting. The FBC is something, I was super interested in, just like, their FBC's holding all this crazy paranormal entities and all that shit. Just kind of going into the backstory of that was super cool. And then the other DLC is AWE. It's about altered world events, which is a big term the game uses is the AWEs, but it also can be kind of seen as Alan Wake expansion because it does a lot of connective tissue between this game, Alan Wake 1, and then also some good lead into Alan Wake 2. The main guy you're fighting throughout the whole time is a dude from Alan Wake 1 who disappeared. which was super interesting. You also just like learn a lot more backstory about the FBC, kind of what they were doing and how they're investigating Bright Falls after the events of Alan Wake 1. There's a lot of cool lore pickups in here. And even past the Alan Wake stuff, there's a lot of cool lore pickups just describing more altered world events, which I would love for them to dive way more into, just like other altered world events that happen, other objects of power that they talk about in game that we just don't have much context on. I would love to see more about this because I think this world that Remedy is building is super cool and has so much possibility just with like a lot of supernatural, cosmic, just weird shit. Lore stuff, story stuff aside, best part of this game is the gameplay for sure. There's so much variety of how you can play. There's a lot of different abilities. As you can see in the footage I'm showing, I love to use the throw ability. You have to use the throw ability to destroy the guys with shields, but I love the throw ability. I try to upgrade it as much as I could. You also get like the levitate just to help traversal. There's a shield. There's a whole ton of abilities, and they're all super fun to use. You can build into them, upgrade them. Super fun. Also different weapon types. The service weapon, which is just the name of the main gun you use. It's given to Jesse pretty early on. And there's a lot of different ways you can use it. There's just like a normal pistol version. There's a shotgun version. There's like a charge up version. There's like a Pierce, which is just like a sniper version. There's like an SMG version, which I didn't really start using until the end, but I had a lot of fun using it, just kind of running up on guys with like the little SMG pistol. It was super cool. You can honestly just play the encounters however you want. It's a lot of variety. It's like, you know what? I wanted to use another ability more in a different encounter where I knew I was going to fight guys. And I just did it. And you can still get it done kind of just as quick. And it's really fun playing this gameplay and just having so much variety and being able to change your play style whenever you want. There's also tons of different mods you can put on your character and on your weapon that build into like whatever you're trying to go in for the guns. So like if you're having a hard time with the accuracy for the spin version of the gun, there's an accuracy version of the mod, and it can still be like a decent number, but if you get an accuracy version specifically for spin, it'll be much higher percentage whenever you can only put on spin weapons. Like if you get a spin mod or a charge mod, you can only put on that type of gun, but it'll give you much more accuracy, higher rate of fire, whatever it is you want. You can also just get like more damage after you get a kill. With the shotgun, you can get more projectiles fired. There's a lot of cool shit you can do with the guns and the abilities in this game just to make Jesse feel as powerful as possible. And I know I mentioned it earlier, but I really want to reiterate how much I love the collectibles in this game. There are just so many scattered everywhere. It feels like each of them is giving you a little piece of the puzzle, trying to figure out, like, just in general, what the hell's going on at the FBC, like, just other AWEs, like, more like world events that happened with weird shit, more objects of power that are, or like even altered items. Like a lot of this stuff I'm saying probably just sounds like a bunch of random crazy shit. But you play this game, you understand all the terms I'm talking about. If you're into any like sci-fi, kind of cosmic, there's a little bit of like cosmic, like weird horror shit in here, I will say. This game can get a little horror-y, especially in the Alan Wake expansion. They do a little bit of horror, but this game is mostly just action, a lot of just fast-paced gunplay abilities. It's really a great time. If you like any of these kind of games, like just mowing through dudes and killing shit with a pretty solid story, a little strange, hard to understand, but like a lot of deep lore, I would totally check out this game. Going back to the tier list, I'm going to give this game an A. Like I just said, that was a great time. Super excited for Control Resonant coming out sometime later this year. Next game I'm going to be talking about is Ultrakill. It is like a fast-paced first-person shooter, kind of like in a Doom or Quake style. And you play as a robot who is diving into hell. Another game that I had a great time with. I've never really gotten a chance to play any of these style games, like I said, like a Doom or a Quake, just any of the fast-paced first-person shooters, but I had a great time with this. I really love the art style. You know, the graphics look really good. It looks super smooth, but they also kind of keep like a bit of a retro feel. Just art style in general is great. Each of the different layers has a whole different look. They do really good skyboxes, like underneath levels and stuff. Just the design in general of the game, I think, is pretty great. I also love the sound in this game, too. I think the sound's super cool. The monsters, when you kill them, they all make a sound when they do their attacks. The guns and, like, the different abilities all have, like, a really unique look and feel every time you use them, especially with the shotguns that you see me using a bunch. Just makes them feel like they really hit hard, which is how they're supposed to be. And I think it looks super cool. The soundtrack is also awesome. It fits really well with the main premise of the character diving into hell. It does have like, it's retro feel, but it's also just very fast-paced, energetic. You feel like you're just jumping and running and flying all over the place. I also love the boss fights I've done so far. There's like specific boss fights, and they're not pushovers, I will say. I was genuinely surprised. I thought they were going to be like, whatever, you can just do a little dodge here and there. No, you got to actually learn like what weapons are good for them, what type of melee ability you should use, like the hard-hitting melee punch or like the parry melee punch. And you also just got to learn the moveset. I mean, you got to do dodges, you got to do parries. There's some that you can parry, but they're really hard to. There's some that you can dodge, but those are the parries. That's what you want to do to get your health back. I like learning the boss fights, and when you get them down, they are a ton of fun. I also still have not fully beaten this game. I still got a ton of content to do. I got through a good bit of it. There's still some main levels I got to get through. I got to get S tier on some of the levels so I can unlock secret levels because I've heard the boss fights in there are really cool. And this game is also not even finished. There's still 2 more layers, I believe, that have to come out for this game. I'm not like I said, I haven't played like a Doom or a Quake or anything like that. So I'm not gonna lie. As you can see in this gameplay, I'm honestly not the best at it. Like, you'll see me swap weapons when I'm not meaning to. You'll see me miss a lot of shots. You'll see me I get dying is gonna happen in these games, but you'll see me like dying just from like stupid shit. And it doesn't like frustrate me at all, like dying. No, it's just like, I get it's gonna happen, but it's just I really want to learn and get better at this game and just mow through some of these levels as fast as possible. I feel like it's going to be a ton of fun to go back and replay some of the stuff, trying to find the secrets. And just like I said, just beating it as like chaotic and as quick as I possibly can. Each level and zone also feels very unique. I said this earlier. It's like a different layer of hell. The main premise of the story is like each layer represents Dante's 9 circles of hell. So the last one that came out is layer 7. So there's still 2 more layers to come out. And I'm super excited for them. I'll have to check them out like right when those come out because they should be sick. But yeah, overall, like I'm not very good or have a lot of experience with these like Doom style, just fast-paced, like older kind of shooters. But I had a ton of fun with this. I think this is a really good game. Going back to the tier list, I'm going to put this at A. Like I said, just a ton of fun, just very fast-paced, chaotic. You start learning some of the move sets, like what guns are good for certain scenarios, different abilities, how to parry, all that stuff. The game is a blast. Next game I'm going to be talking about is Portal 2. It follows Chell, same character from the first game again. She's like reawakened in a Aperture Science room by Wheatley, and they're just trying to escape, but they end up reactivating GLaDOS, and then the story really gets going from there. I thought this game was amazing. I am a huge fan of Portal 1, like huge. It's like probably like my top 15 favorite games ever. And then I'd been meaning to play this forever, man. I don't know, I just kept pushing it off. I was like, you know what, I'm just down one night and play Portal 2. And I think Portal 2 blows Portal 1 out of the water. This is an insanely good game. There's so much, like the story is so good. The characters are all so good. There's some new abilities. I'll go ahead and start by talking about those new abilities. The main like new stuff they add are like the different goos. The blue one, there's a blue goo that makes you jump higher. There's a orange one that makes you run faster. And then there's a white one that you can put portal surfaces on and the goo can just go wherever. I was not a big fan of them at first. I thought they were just used like kind of in a boring way. But once they start doing some more complex puzzles with the goos, and you have to like build momentum, you have to shoot a portal in the air, go back through it, so you take your momentum with you to either run faster on the orange goo or to jump higher on the blue goo, or just like using the like white, like grayish goo, shooting it like across the map so you can put a portal over there. I thought it was super cool. It became my favorite game mechanic once they really started getting deep into it. I also love the other little mechanics. There's like some light bridges and walls. I say light bridges and walls because they can be used as both. Whenever they're just flat in front of you, you can walk across them like a bridge. Obviously, it just helps you sometimes cross areas. But when they're flipped on their side, they can be used to block you from turrets or anything like that could get you killed. And I thought they were super cool. There's also little gravity lifts. They can just help you go up higher. They use them in a few ways. It can be shot horizontally, and it just helps you just cross the level. Or what you can do for some of the other levels, specifically something maybe like when you combine it with the orange goo, is you use the gravity lift to carry you up on purpose, and then you jump off of it through a portal, and then you're flying forward with all this momentum, and it helps you launch across to a new area, which I think is cool how Valve is able to just take simple mechanics and still incorporate them in such a wide variety of ways. That's what I always love about these Portal games. The story, especially, like, I love the lore and story from Portal 1. I never really dove too much into Portal 2, but it just opens so much more for Portal 2. I will say this is one of my favorite game beginnings ever, and there's a good chance this may be one of my favorite game endings ever. The ending moments of this game is so cool. I'm sure there's people out there who know it, play the game. Obviously, the game came out like 2011, but it still feels just so new and modern. Like, feels like this could have came out like pretty recently, but the ending is just so cool. And the GLaDOS reveal when you finally see her, it's awesome. It's a great reveal for another great character. I really do think this is the best puzzle game I've ever played, and it still manages to have a fantastic story. And like, there's tons of great characters. Like I said, GLaDOS, Wheatley's following you for a majority of the game, and then there's also Cave Johnson, who will be talking over the intercom. He's long gone, but it's just like old recordings being played to you. I will say the big thing that surprised me with this game is the scale of just everything. Like, the ending, I will say, also just crazy scale as well. But I'm going to really focus more on the facility because, you know, in Portal 1, I thought Aperture was pretty big. I was like, man, this area is huge. But in Portal 2, you just enter rooms and they make you feel so small. And it's just great. Like, there's even more than just the facility, that the scale, like, it makes you feel tiny in this game world. There's still debates and theory videos about how big Aperture Science, the facility, is based on this game, and also how many years it's been since Portal 1. That's still another big topic of debate, is when, like, what year or time or anything does this game take place, because it's super ambiguous. And yeah, no, I don't, as far as I know, I don't think anyone truly has any real idea. But I know just for confirmed size of the game, at one point you fall, and you fall for 4,375 meters, which is 5.25 times larger than the tallest building in the world. And that's just as far as, like, as deep as we know that Aperture goes. It could go farther down. At one point, Wheatley says it goes on for miles, and you see like little pictures on the side. It's crazy just how big this facility could be. I think this game is awesome. I just love how much story and detail they put into this world for just being a puzzle game. Like, they could, like, as much as I love the portal mechanics of just the basic, just the blue and orange portal, and even just like other little basic game mechanics, they go so much deeper into this and make you feel like part of the world. Going back to the tier list, I'm going to put this game at S. I absolutely loved this game. It's a known classic, probably one of the best sequels ever, because Portal 1 is also just so good. And even this game isn't still not very long. It's only took me, I want to say like 5-6 hours. Any kind of puzzle game fan or any just video game fan in general, this is just a must play. Next game I'm going to be talking about is Alan Wake 2. The main premise of the game is there are some cult ritual murders in Bright Falls, the same town from Alan Wake 1. Saga Anderson is an FBI agent. She shows up to help solve the case, and things start to take a turn as she finds pages of a horror story, and they start to completely change reality around her itself. While also Alan Wake is trapped in the dark place. A little spoiler for Alan Wake 1. He's trapped in the dark place, but he is trying to find his way out and help his wife. I thought this game was absolutely amazing. I was very shocked how much I like this game. It takes place 13 years after Alan Wake 1. This game actually originally, out of all these games, was not on my backlog. I only bought it just because of how much I liked Alan Wake 1 and Control. I thought I'd enjoy it after Alan Wake 1 and Control, but I didn't realize how much. It's just, I feel like a game like this was made for the things that I'm interested in. I love the story of the game. It's a dual narrative, like I described both those characters, Saga Anderson and Alan Wake. How it works is you actually play as both characters, and it gets to a point in the story you can freely swap between them. So it's not like a set path where it's like everyone's set, like, oh, you play a little bit of Saga, play a little bit as Alan. No, you can swap anytime you want. And so what I did is I would just do a little bit of Saga, and I was like, oh, I wonder what happened in Alan's story. I swapped to Alan. I was like, oh, what happens in Saga's story? And kind of swap back and forth. And I thought they did both characters very well. Both stories intertwine at the perfect moments and just enough where it feels they're connected, but they're still kind of separate on their own. Like I said, I feel like a game like this was made for me. It feels like parts of Twin Peaks and parts of True Detective were combined, and I just love the vibe of this game, especially for the Twin Peaks stuff. The story's premise can totally change from just super dark and depressing and emotional, and then can swap into some like cheesy, some very weird and strange visuals, and just some weird, like kind of weird, like some quirky, funny stuff, like how Twin Peaks does. I also love how they lean super heavy into detective gameplay with Saga, and also like detective / kind of author gameplay with Alan. How that works is, for Saga, anytime you're in like playing in a main section of the game with Saga, she's just trying to figure out like it's a crime scene. She's trying to figure out crime scenes, and you put different scenarios, and it helps like change the crime scene, and then the correct one will lead you the right way. Alan does the same thing, but instead of detective, he's going through with some flashbacks and some weird visions in the dark place. It'll give him a story thread, and he'll put that in the setting, and it'll do like a little cutscene of him doing a typewriter, and then the entire setting will change. Like he wrote it and changed it. And I just love how they do this gameplay by just really incorporating how good of a detective Saga is, while also just Alan Wake's writing shaping the world around him. I also just love the visuals of this game too. The visuals and the world itself too looks so good. The original Alan Wake looks fine, but I mean, it's a game that came out in 2010, you know? This game came out in 2023, and you can just tell like how much just graphics and technology have advanced since then, because this game looks incredible. It looks so good. The world is just super cool as well. There's a lot of little details I'll get into later. Just the vibe of Bright Falls and the Dark Place, and just any setting you go to in this game is sweet. Like Saga in the different like Bright Falls environments, but Wake is in like different Dark Place environments. It really like immerses you in the world. Like I said, they all look good, but there's so much little details, a lot of lore pickups. Also tons of FBC details around Bright Falls, doing a lot of connective tissue between this and the Control universe, which, of course, obviously was made by Remedy, because in Alan Wake 1, they're not around because the Altered World event hasn't happened yet. But, you know, it happens in Alan Wake 1, and so the FBC's all hanging around. They got little stations set up. There's pickups you find with documents. It's super cool, and I love how deep Remedy is going in building this world. There's tons of twists in this game as well. The story. I don't want to really spoil anything, but there were 2 twists that just totally shocked me. There's one that's just like a crazy twist, just very shocking, and then there's a twist at the end that's just very emotional. It's just like it's a twist, but it's just a very real twist of like, if this story was happening in the real world, this would be the outcome. And it sucks, but it makes this world feel very realistic, as sad as the twist ends up being. There's tons of good levels in this game. Like I said, plenty of cool areas and all that. One level specifically, the Herald of Darkness level. I don't want to say too much about that because I want people to experience it for themselves like I did. I didn't know anything about it. Totally caught me off guard. And I think it may be one of the best levels I've ever played in a video game. It's just so out of left field in this, but it's super cool. It's awesome. I love the Herald of Darkness level. I think they also do combat very well. Earlier in this video, I said my big gripe with Alan Wake 1 was the combat wasn't anything special. And honestly, in this, it's not anything special either. It's kind of the same. But in Alan Wake 1, it gets to a point where they're honestly like spamming the combat a little bit, and they'll send a lot of guys at you in some levels. In this game, you can go whole levels with only fighting a few guys, and they go full in on narrative, give you a lot of options with the smaller amount of guys. Sometimes the best option is just to run by them and go into the light. I noticed it in certain sections. I wouldn't have a lot of ammo, or just like my battery wouldn't have a lot of charge. And I was like, man, how do I beat this? And I'd see a light post in the distance. And I was like, oh, I'm just supposed to run there and just avoid this combat. But when you do have to do combat, there are just like a few just random quote unquote bosses. I will say there's nothing crazy, but there's just like a dodge button, and it's very easy to get time a dodge up right. I don't think the combat in a game like this needs to be anything crazy. They just need to hit on the story, and I think they did by far. This is a fantastic story. They also really lean into the horror aspect. It's kind of similar to Alan Wake 1. It's not really whole lot of jump scares or anything. It's more atmospheric. Guys will catch you off guard every once in a while. In this game, the camera, I think, is more zoomed in. It feels more zoomed in to me, at least. Guys will totally catch you off guard, pop out of a corner, and scare the shit out of you. But mostly the horror in this game is just purely atmospheric. I'll go full levels and sections, and the music will be going. It'll be dark. There's like shadows around corners and all that. And I'm freaking terrified that a guy's going to pop out and attack me, and nothing will show up the entire time. And I think that's great. Like, I love just the suspenseful, even if something does pop out, it's like, it's good build up, and they're not just spamming jump scares or anything. Cause that's not the horror I like. It's just jump scare after jump scare. I like good build up. Just like being afraid the entire time. I think that is great horror. I also love the cutscenes in this game. I don't remember them being like this in Alan Wake 1. I don't think they were. Like I said, the only Remedy games I've played are Alan Wake 1, Control, and this. And I know there are some cutscenes like how they do in this game in Control. Out of all the 3 Remedy games I play, they do it a lot. The cutscenes in this game are live action, like straight up. A good bit of the cutscenes in this game, especially when you're in the dark place with Alan Wake, Mr. Door, all of those guys, they're just fully live action. And I know they got Alan Wake. It's played by 2 guys. They do like a Darth Vader scenario where they have a guy who looks exactly like Alan Wake, and then they have the guy who voices him, and they both do a great job, and it looks super cool. Like, I didn't even realize halfway through the game that it wasn't that guy talking, and just it's so unique to these Remedy games of having the little live action cutscene. But I also like how they mix it in with like just normal video game cutscenes. It'll catch you off guard, and it's like, oh, they're doing live action now. Oh, they're doing just normal cutscenes. And I think either way they do it, it looks super cool. Other than the main characters, of Alan Wake and Saga Anderson. I thought all the other characters were amazing. You got some returners from the previous game, like Tor and Odin. You got a new character in Estevez, who's an FBC agent who comes to Bright Falls. You got Alex Casey, and like I said, Warland. I mentioned Warlandor, but he might be one of my favorite characters in this game by far. The old talk show host in the Dark Place. Just they're all super cool. Got their own mysteries clearly that still, even after the game, haven't been answered. It brings a lot of charm and personality into this game, and like I said, I don't think there's a single bad character. I also played both the DLCs, and they were both really good. DLC 1 is called Night Springs. Just a little backstory: Night Springs is like an in-game TV show in the like Alan Wake universe, and it's very similar to like a Twilight Zone. Like the intro is straight up just a riff on the Twilight Zone intro. And there's 3 episodes. The first one you'll see in some gameplay here. You play as Rose. She's from the first game. She's just like a waitress at the diner. Like I said, I don't really want to spoil anything about these games, especially this game, because I think everyone should play this game. Episode 2 is kind of a spoiler. I don't want to mention who you play as in episode 2. Episode 3, however, episode 1 and 2 were both great, but I think episode 3 makes the DLC. You play as Tim Breaker, the sheriff from the game, and it is a super interesting story. All the episodes are quick. They're honestly like 45, 50 minutes. They're not very long, but episode 3 is fantastic. Great story. A lot of cool direction of where like a story that could happen in this Remedy universe. I thought they were all a great time, but I think episode 3 absolutely makes the DLC. DLC 2 was also awesome. It's called the Lake House, which is the FBC facility near Cauldron Lake. You play as Estevez. Like I said, she shows up to Bright Falls during all this stuff. And it actually takes place during the main game. It gave me an option to play it once I got to this section of the game, but I skipped it and played it after because I wanted to beat the main game first. I thought it was awesome. In that little FBC facility near Cauldron Lake, it's just like a little side story. She going in there and trying to help the team, but then you uncover what's been going on there. Some of the fighting in between some FBC people in there, and then just like, it's FBC, so it's going to be dealing with some weird entities and stuff. It's a super interesting story. It's FBC related, so it's obviously connected to Control in a way, and it does good connection between this game, and then it's going to lead right into maybe not right into, but it's good lead into Control Resonance. This DLC is also pretty scary at some points. Like I think it was probably the scariest thing I played in this game. Actually, there are some sections where it's just like something can pop out of the wall, like straight up out of the wall, and get you, and it scared the absolute shit out of me a few times. But I thought they did the horror super well, because like I said, they're not spamming it. They're like really keeping you on edge, and sometimes I'd run through the whole area and nothing would jump out at me, but it waits, and as soon as you're off guard, it jumps out and it gets you every time. But there's a lot of cool lore in here about just like what they've been doing here in the facility, and like I said, there's also just some good stories of what's going on, some like interrelationship stuff with people at the FBC, and what it is driving FBC and their research is driving some of these people to do. But yeah, overall, I love this game. I'm gonna go back to the tier list. I'm gonna put this at S. I'm not gonna lie, I think this may be like a top 3 story game I've ever played. I love every aspect of this. It does horror perfectly, it does mystery perfectly, suspense, and just plain old storytelling. The story is fantastic. Like I said earlier, it feels like this game was made for me. It's everything I love, honestly, just wrapped into one. Like, even if you're not a big horror fan, I'm not. If you just like good mysteries, good stories in general, I would check this game out, because this game is amazing. And I don't think it's crazy to say, after thinking about it more, this may end up being one of my favorite games ever, which is insane, because I wasn't planning on playing this game. I didn't own this game 2 weeks ago, but I was like, you know what? I'll play the second one. I heard it's Remedy's best game probably so far. I'll check it out, and it was a fantastic time. Last game I'm going to be talking about is Dread Delusion. It takes place on like some floating islands. They're called the Oneric Isles. Like a post-apocalyptic world right after God War had just happened. And you're playing as a prisoner for the Apostatic Union. They're very anti-God. Like a God worship is just fully outlawed. What you're doing is you're just hunting down a pirate. You're like finding secrets in the world to find this pirate who's the leader of the Dark Star mercenaries. You are getting some of her like top lieutenants who were formerly in the Dark Star mercenaries. They're kind of scattered across the Oneric Isles, and you're hunting them down. You're kind of getting them on your team, and to eventually chase her down and stop her because she wants to do some crazy god stuff and like rewrite the world or whatever. And the Apostatic Union doesn't like that, but they have their own agendas, their own pros and cons, and you can really kind of choose what side you want to be on. I mean, you're doing the Apostatic Union's work for most of it, but it's like there's separate endings. So it's like if you really don't agree with them, you can kind of do your own thing in the end, which I'm not gonna lie is what I did because I ain't fuck with the Apostatic Union. But it's a lot of freedom of choice there, I will say. Just enough. Not anything crazy, not tons of endings, but you can kind of do a playthrough however you want. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to start off and say like the one possible con someone could have with this game, I honestly didn't, is the combat. As you can see in some of the gameplay, combat is nothing special. It's not, you're not getting like a Ghost of Tsushima, like shit, you're not even getting Skyrim. Like, it's the combat's not really anything crazy. In this gameplay, I'm really only using a sword, but you can do like spells to like summon a guy. You can do bows, which is kind of what I started using near the end. I thought the bow was pretty powerful. There's like a normal kind of choice of weapons that you'd use for these RPGs. Some people may not like the combat and just think it's a little simple, but I thought it was good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I had a good time with it. I didn't need it to be anything super advanced or like any kind of crazy parry timing or dodging or anything. Like, all you do, it's like when guys are about to hit you, you just hit the block button and parries. And I liked it. I thought it was cool. It brings a big focus in everything else in the game. Now, for some of the pros that I had at this game, I had a ton. Firstly, I think the world is just gorgeous. As you can see in this gameplay that I'm showing, this is just like the opening fortress you invade. Eventually, I'll go over to like Pwyll, I think is how you say it. The world in general, all the different locations, I'll get into them later, but all the different locations look super unique. They look super cool. Oh my gosh. I think they knocked it out of the park with just the design and just the vibe of this game. The backstory too, some of the lore they kind of get into, even with each of the side cities, and just like the God War that previously happened, and some of the gods, super interesting. I want to look into it more because I just loved the story of this game. I thought it was the coolest shit ever. Like I said, each area is really unique. You got Pwyll and Hollowtown, which are just like the basic, just like green grass areas, you know, that you would find anywhere. And then you go over to the right, you got the Clockwork Kingdom. It's all snowy. It's kind of in ruin a little bit. They got their own shit going on. You got like some side quests over there about the town and everything. And that's super cool. You go to the left, you got the Endless Realm, where the people who live there never die. And so that's like a whole thing where it's like kind of debating if that's a good or a bad thing that they never die. And like they have their reasonings for it, their reasonings against it. And just overall, like all the different NPCs, like the architecture looks different. Even just the enemies, they look different. You got the Underlands, who's like kind of like a late game thing that you visit. Overall, just each location in this game I thought was super cool. Even just some of the caves and little mini dungeons and shit. Just loved exploring this world. Some of the gods you see are also super cool. They have such a great design. Obviously, like I said, like god worshipping is outlawed, but every once in a while you'll just run into a god like in a side quest or like even just like a main quest. or just at other random points that I don't want to spoil, because I think everyone should at least try this game and see if they like it. But you'll run into a god every once in a while, and just with this art style and everything, you're like, holy shit, like, that god looks crazy. Like, what the hell? What kind of design is this? But I like how they don't stick with anything basic and try to make them look human. Like, these things are about the least looking human style of gods that they could design, and I thought they all looked super cool. The main thing on this game too that I also love is the focus is more on exploration over combat. So what that means is, for like leveling in this game, you don't level by killing guys and getting XP, like using attributes, like kind of how you would in a Skyrim type game. You level by picking up little delusions. They are light blue skulls that you pick up around the map. This is how you get your leveling, is by exploring, by trying to go in every little corner of the world. And even just when you're in major dungeons, you're like trying to find a boss at the end. You still explore the side shit because you want to find another delusion. Maybe you'll get that next level. You'll be able to use it against a guy. Like, I love that change for this, especially when the world looks as good as it does. Focusing on exploration over combat, I think, is just a great idea for a game like this. Another thing I loved were the characters. There's no voice lines in this game. The only voice lines is like when you anytime you first open the game, and like the ending cutscene, there's like a little voiceover, kind of just like talking about what's happened and all that stuff. There's no voice lines, but all the characters I thought were super cool, especially the main idea of trying to assemble these ex-mercenaries to help take on their old boss and like their old friend. They each have their own different relationships with Vela. I think Vela Kalos is, I forget how to always say her last name. It's like some of them were like, oh, we grew up together, and then some were just like, I don't know her that well, but like we fought together for a while, you know, and they have their own reasonings of like why they would or wouldn't want to help you, but then, you know, you just do something to help them out, and then they go to your side, and they're all like just super cool characters. They all have their own different reasons of why they would be on the team. I also love the side quests. Like I mentioned earlier, there's like side quests in each of the city. I wouldn't say there's much side quests, I will say. It's like once you get to each city, there's like a main quest for the city, or maybe just something just like right on the outskirts of the city that can have like maybe not a major effect, sometimes like a major visual effect. Like I said, I don't want to spoil everything. There's one I can say. I don't want to say too much because I thought it was super cool seeing the visual effect after. Town, Quill has one as well, and then Clockwork Kingdom and Endless Realm. Like I said, they all got quests in their city that aren't part of the main quest, but it's like something important for the city. You got to help like people within the town, and it just adds a lot of depth. It shows you a lot of like reasoning and just lore for each of those small cities, which, I mean, I just wasn't expecting that from this game. Like how so much in depth they go into just like some of the different conflicts going on throughout this world. And it's just super interesting. There's also an airship you unlock after the main story. Super cool because you see a fella fly away in an airship pretty early on. And I was like, man, that looks sick. And after the game, you get one to help you just traverse the islands. I used it to help just like finish up some side shit, you know. You can get some cool like visual changes to it as well. It's awesome. You can like drop an anchor wherever, like anywhere that's like landable. You can drop an anchor and you just like take it down, and you can really just get all the side stuff done really easily after the main game because of the airship, and it's super fun to use. Music, another thing great in this game. It's super like old school style RPG, which is, you know, fits great for the game, as you can tell by the art style of this. It's also just very eerie, like honestly, like a little magical too. It's just like the perfect music to help you like fully get into this world. You got the typical like fast music sometimes when you're in a dungeon, but then sometimes you'll just be walking around and it's just like calming, just very slow music. But I think all the music fits perfectly for each of the locations they have here. But as much as I love everything in this game, and I do, I think the main point of why I love this game is the art style. I think the art style absolutely makes the game. And I've been wanting to play like an old school style RPG like this for a while. Some of them are like Obviously, they're a little old, but I know they're still good, like a Morrowind style game. I'm still going to go check out and play that. I had been wanting kind of like a modern style RPG with like this old school style art style. And man, I think this game just looks gorgeous. I did like a few visual changes in the settings and everything. And I think this game just looks perfect for like how the story is, just like the music, just everything goes together, and then all of it on top of the art style with just like how it wants you to explore characters, how deep the lore goes. It just all just feeds in and make the art style just feel so good. It gives everything you'd want for like a fantasy type game. You got the crazy looking monsters, you got crazy shit in the skybox, you got these gods who just look insane. Like the skybox, I think it's just the perfect mix of just like it looks gorgeous, but it is like just a little scary. It's like, dude, like it looks like freaking the world's ending right now, but it looks so good. And you even just got like normal people, just it's like there's people at the pub like just passed out drunk in a bar, like any of the bars you go to. I love that mix. There's just a lot of ways you can play the game. You can explore everything. I think it's just, I really hope if you take anything from this, it would be to check out this game. Like it's only like $20 on Steam. Another thing I love, this last thing, is like some of the attributes you can get as you level, and you can also get them by unlocking armor and upgrading them. They can affect the playstyle. Like they can impact the very last decision of the game. There's a few of them. It's like lore. It's one of the attributes you can upgrade, and it's like you using your magical abilities to maybe hit some hidden switches around to open a door. There's also lockpick that can help turn off traps, open doors, maybe get you a little shortcut where you find a delusion to help you level up, or you just sneak around all the guys because you lockpick some door on the side and you lockpicked a couple traps, and boom, you're good to go. And there's also charm where you can like talk your way out of stuff, talk your way into more information. And like I said, I thought it was super cool how like you can get a whole different ending based off of like an attribute because you level it up and it feels like it'd be something that's important. And then sure enough, it is. It is important. And it's super cool how it affects that even just like at the very end of the game. But yeah, I was just saying, like if you're a fan of any kind of RPG, I really would check out this game. I loved it. I love just exploring the world, just trying to find everything, learn more about the backstory, doing all the side quests. Like there's not even a lot of side. Like I beat this game. I beat the main game. I did tons of side quests. I think I have like 50 of the 58 achievements on Steam, and I have 25 hours. Like it's not like insane. It's not that much of a time sink, but it is just so cool to play, just to be in the world. And I absolutely love this game. Going back to the tier list, I'm going to put this at S tier. I think for any RPG fan, especially those of like, even just like just older RPGs, I think this is a must play. Like this game only came out in like 2024, was like the full release. I think it had been out before, but they were like still updating it. I think any RPG fan should check out this game. I had a great time playing this.
So these are all the games I played this winter. Rankings aside, I had a great time playing all 9 of these. I'll put the tier list back up here. I played way more new games this winter than I ever expected, and it totally broadened the range of games I enjoy playing. For example, my 3 favorite games I played, Portal 2, Alan Wake, and Dread Delusion, are all totally different. You got a puzzle game in Portal 2, you got a horror, thriller, detective, narrative game with Alan Wake, and then for Dread Delusion, you have an exploration-focused, old-school style RPG. The way I started playing all these games is also totally different too. Portal 2 has been on the backlog for years and years. I played Portal 1 when I was like a little kid. I've been meaning to play Portal 2 for probably almost 10 years now. And Alan Wake 2, I just got. Like I said, whenever I was talking about it, I didn't even own it. I just liked Alan Wake and Control. I enjoyed the world. And I was like, you know what? This is new. I'll give this a shot. And I absolutely loved it. And then with Dread Delusion, I only have that game because I was just scrolling through Steam during a sale and I clicked on it, thought it looked cool, and I bought it and I tried it, and it became one of my favorite games. I made this video not only to just discuss the games I've been playing this winter, but also to just show other people that some of their favorite games could just be sitting in their library already, just untouched, maybe even been there for years. And all it takes is just trying it that one time to fall in love with it. Or the game could just be part of a genre that you say you don't like just because you won't give it a try. I tried some new genres and I had a great time playing all of them. Playing all these games reminded me of why I love video games so much, because you can get lost in a movie or a book. In a game, you actually become part of the story. I think that feeling of being involved where your choices and actions matter is just what I love about games and makes them so special to me. And this whole backlog video that I was making really reminded me of why I love video games so much. Trying some games I normally wouldn't have gave me some of the most memorable moments I've had playing video games. All of these games and the experience I had playing them reminded me of why I love this medium so much in the first place. The next games I plan on hopping into are Morrowind, just because the clear influence it had on Delusion, and I like the Elder Scrolls games. They're all cool. I'm also going to try Resident Evil. Alan Wake made me want to hop into some more horror games, and Resident Evil just interests me. The world looks cool. It's a very famous series, so I plan on trying that soon. I also plan on starting Mass Effect sometime soon. I love sci-fi, and for some unknown reason, I still have not tried any of those games, even though I've heard great things forever. If you have any questions about the games in the video, or if you just have any other game recs, feel free to comment. As you can tell by the video, I'm always down to check out some new games and see if I like them or not. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you all later.